Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Listen, this is Catherine, your host. Listen, we are back for another edition of Good Morning to the Leader in You. And listen, we are joined today with a gentleman that definitely supported my entrepreneurship journey when I launched into the Orlando area. We're here with Marcus. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm all right. How about yourself?
I tell you, listen, we are going to really have a very natural conversation about leadership, entrepreneurship, but also when you hit those roadblocks and you hit those hurdles, how do you bounce back from that, right? And so, Marcus, I want you to share with our audience, first of all, what's the name of your parent company and why did you launch it?
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Marcus Brown, I'm the founder of the Hope Dealing Mindset Corporation. That is my parent company. Our hope stands for helping others with personal encouragement. It just comes from pretty much me taking my life and the things that I went through and how I transitioned, which you'll hear about shortly, and giving people that hope to say, you know what, just keep going. If I can tell my story, hopefully you don't have to have that story.
Right, right. And now it's not easy to start a business.
Oh no, not at all.
It's not.
Not easy to maintain.
No, we're going to talk about how you get it off the ground,
Okay.
and we're going to talk about what you just said on how to maintain it, because it takes both, right? Let's start off first by getting it off the ground. Why did you want to get it off the ground? Why was it a passion for you?
Well, it started, I'm a graduate of Morgan State University, and I have something special that in the end I can tell you about that. But
Okay.
when I transitioned from life, like being in the streets and kind of living that life and avoiding prison and death. So I said, okay, now that I'm in college and I'm pursuing my degree, what am I going to kind of do with this degree? I wasn't really wanting to work for people, but I know I need to have a job. I have a son, so I'm like, I need to have financial support for what I want to do.
Right.
So when I came up with this organization, it was actually me and my brother, best friend of mine named George Rowley. He is who I founded the company with. And it was just like, all right, well, we're going to just give back or, going to just feed the homeless. But then I'm like, all right, we can do that. But my whole goal was I took from the community when I was living in the streets. Like, so now that I've gotten my degree and I'm starting this nonprofit, my whole goal is just to give back from the ones that I took from.
Well, talk about that, because it could be somebody watching now or watching later, and they feel like because wherever they've come from, they can't have a fresh start or they can't be a business owner, which is far from the truth, right? What would you say to that person that's watching right now?
I would tell them, first and foremost, you got to have faith. You got to have a relationship with the Lord, because that's what ultimately got me everything that I have now and everything that I'm growing to. Because I had to have faith in those dry seasons, and with people telling me, Ben, that I have a nonprofit is exactly what it is, a nonprofit. So you're not generating income. And people will tell you, you got to do this, you got to do that. So, you might need to put this to the side for a little bit. And it's like someone's telling you to set your dream down to go work for someone. And hopefully you can come back and do that. And a lot of people don't get to come back and, pick up their dream again because they get so caught up in the work. And so I just kept going with it, man. I knew that I had a particular purpose. And my purpose led to me saying, you know what, I got to push this. One thing I learned about purpose, it makes a way. So even in the midst of the struggles, it really makes a way, because I found that every time I was in purpose, if it was a struggle, if it was a triumphant win, no matter what it was consistent and it kept going, because purpose is going to lead you there. But when I was doing things that was out of purpose, it always fizzled out. It always led to like a dead end. It never went nowhere. But the only place it led me was back to my purpose.
Because I was about to say that, because everybody has a past.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So anybody watching now, everyone comes from somewhere. Everyone has done something.
Right.
But even with your past, do you feel that helped in some kind of way to prepare? Or when I say help, I mean, because no one is perfect, and we all have done something. Do you see a connection of when from your past that you just shared to where you're growing or where you are right now?
Yes,
what would you say? Because I don't want anybody to think that, being an entrepreneur, you might just popped out and just became an entrepreneur, right? So what do you see the connection?
I look at my past. When I think of past, I think of perspective. So that's what changed. Okay. That was the only thing that changed from the person, Marcus and that guy to the guy who he is now, was my perspective changed. Okay. And the perspective only changed because of the purpose. So I'm like, all right, well, if I look at things differently. Okay. I want to see things in my business work. I went to seeing people look at me in a different life. So now my perspective changed. Like, how do I want to be viewed? Do I still want to own this past guy, this street personality or do I want to own the new guy or the actual guy that I am? I won't even say the new guy, the actual person that I was supposed to be anyway. So I would say just, you have to change your perspective. I'm a convicted felon. I went through a lot with the criminal system. I've never been to prison, thank God, but I actively work with mayors and chief of police and corporals and sergeants, and I'm respected in that community on a high level. But I am a convicted felon. I had all of those things, but my perspective changed. So when I owned it, people could see it on me, and then they accepted it. So because I accepted it.
Your perspective changes. If anybody's watching now, watching later, no matter where you are in life, it's about your perspective.
That's perspective.
And then your purpose, it opened the pathway for you.
Exactly.
So you connected your purpose, you shifted your perspective, and then you developed an organization that's touching many lives. Talk about the young men that you work with.
So, like I said, the parent company is Hope Leader Mindset, not just community based. So that's feeding the homeless, the toy drives, turkey drives, all of that type of stuff. And then doing that, I came about I Hope Mentoring. I Hope Mentoring was just like people that knew me and was like, hey, I see the changes you've done. I went to school and, all of those. Can you talk to my son? And can you just get him, a little bit? And I was like, all right, I was doing it. But I didn't want to take on a lot of people. I didn't have space. I didn't have time. And I didn't want to just say I got all these people, but I'm not adequately doing nothing with them.
Right.
In 2018, November 1st, the Lord blessed us with an opportunity at the community center, the Northwest Community Center. And that was our first day of I Hope Mentoring. And I had my vice president, Chris. He showed up with me. I never knew him. I met him through a mutual person that we knew. And he just wanted to kind of get into some kids' lives and, those type
make
of
a
things.
difference.
Yeah, so we started it. We had 3 boys show up. We're in our 3rd year. I have a team of 10.
Okay.
I say team, and I'm going to get right back, but I say team because in this field, there's things that you're doing, especially when you're dealing with kids, the people are going to join to you. They join to me, but sometimes they don't join to the team. And I never want the team to feel like they work for me. We don't, they don't, we work together. Yeah, it's all one. So if they have suggestions or they say something, I'm not going to overrule it because I know they can hold the integrity of the company. So that's why I say team. But we 3 years, we had a team of 10. We've seen, starting with 3 boys on our first day, we've seen an excess of 60 boys twice a week. We average 25.
Okay.
And we didn't even stop during COVID. We was meeting outside with masks on.
Like parks,
kids were still showing up, but that right now is it means a lot to me because I'm dealing with people's kids. It's the difference when you're dealing with adults in the community, but when you're actually having mothers, I say mothers, I don't see a lot of fathers. Out of 3 years, I may have met 10 fathers out of hundreds of boys I've been in their lives. But if someone can trust you and say, here's my child, no matter how bad it is, they care about their child.
That's right.
Here's my child. I trust in what they're going to learn from you by being in your environment for those couple hours throughout the week, watching your social media, because now they can start mimicking things. So if they can trust in me and say, you know what, I don't mind him following your lead. And now, ultimately, the team as well. So that's other men that's been exposed. I take that highly. I honor that because everybody don't get that.
Yeah.
So we doing a lot with the boys right now, man. I mean, they've done everything from learning how to cook. We have a chef come in. They actually cook a dinner that night. We've done painting classes with them. Right now, in the month of April, we're wrapping up our last week of abuse. So we touch on physical, mental, sexual, and substance abuse. So we break them down. We're doing skits tonight. We have mentoring tonight.
Okay.
So we do meet every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. The great thing about it, it's a free program.
Okay, plug in.
Yes, free. There's never a time we don't have space. We always have room for your child. If you can get them there, we'll accept them. I don't charge because the community in which I'm already serving is low income. Most of the parents, the moms that have their child in my program, they have at least 2 or 3 other kids in the household. So there's other financial responsibilities.
Yeah.
They may be in sports programs that they're already paying for. I don't do something else to say, okay, well, now they can't get the help because they can't pay for the program.
Right.
So we'll go find outside funding to fund the things that we need to service the kids, but we make it free for the parents and people that join the program. So, I mean, that's just a little bit about it, but we looking for all the kids.
Yeah.
All of the boys we can get. 7 to 17. Ages 7 to 17. Yeah, 7 to 17 years old. Yep.
So listen, this is good morning to the leader in you. And we're talking about leadership. We're meeting with leaders. And not only are we meeting with leaders, if you listen to what Marcus was sharing, they're pouring back into the next generation, doing what? Building up other young men that are going to be what? They're going to be leaders in the community. And so for those of you that's plugging in now, you may be watching it later. Somebody might even send you the link to this show. We want you to support Hope Dealing Mindset, because it's not just about the head of the company, it's about those that they're pouring into. As you was hearing Marcus share, he was talking about a team atmosphere. So he have other individuals, other men that are mentors pouring into the lives of the young people. Or you may be a family and you're watching a show and you're in Orlando and you have a son and you didn't know about this program. We want you to plug in. So like if somebody's watching and they want to connect with you, what's the best way?
Email first and foremost, if you're trying to directly do something as far as volunteering, and or if you're trying to get your child signed up for the program. So for the program, for the mentoring, it's ihopementoring@gmail.com. If you're trying to volunteer, it's hopedealingmindset@gmail.com. Pretty much the name of the program is Hope Dealing Mindset Corp is the name of the program. The email is hopedealingmindset@gmail. Mentoring is ihopementoring@gmail. Social media, same thing. If you're looking for Instagram, I Hope Mentoring on Instagram, Hope Dealing Mindset on Instagram, Facebook, same thing as well. If you're looking like for my personal page, which is going to direct everything back to my business, is The Hope Dealer, TheHopeDealer, and Marcus Brown -Dorsey on Facebook.
Absolutely. Now, you decided to start the organization. You have a team of people. Talk about any challenges you faced while you was developing the business, and how did you overcome those challenges?
So, I guess like for the first company, Hope Dealing Mindset, man, I faced some tremendous challenges with that because I was just graduating college. I wasn't a young graduate. I was having my first child, my only child. So now you have to think about finances. I do have a criminal background, so getting jobs was not as easy with 2 college degrees. I was fighting that and then still trying to build this company because this was something that was in my heart that I wanted to do. So I kind of had to try to find this balance. And I mean, what I mentioned earlier was faith. I had to know that, look, I'm going to take the talks about me. I'm going to take the arguments that I'm going to get into with people that feel like I should be doing this, opposed to doing that because it's not, doing this, bringing in certain things. I'm gonna give my all, and I'm gonna continue to promote my company. I remember at one point in time I had one shirt that had my company on it. That was the same shirt I wore. My son was born, his footprints is on it, and I ended up having to wear it to an event. And I need something because I want to represent myself. But the biggest challenge was like becoming a new parent. And a first time parent not knowing what to do, and I still learn how to be a parent every day. But
all around the same time of building a business.
Yes, that was and it was hard because I didn't want to let my business go. But I'm also like, I have a child. I was so thankful that the village, the family that my son had in his early years and still have, it helped a lot because I won't say that I fell short, but it was just, life happened and things happen in life. And so I was going through that, but I'm still like, look, man, if I can just continue with this, I'll be where I am now.
Right.
And I'm in a good space with this company now. So that was like one of the biggest challenges. I would say if someone's facing something like, I mean, if you're having a child, you have to, do I want to continue on my entrepreneur role or do I want to just put this down because I have bills to pay? You have to try to find that balance, but you also have to be real with yourself. So my thing was too, if I'm going to do, try to focus on my company, I really have to focus on my company. So you can't say you're going to do it.
So it can't be in and out.
Yeah, you can't go a whole week without working on it. You can't, and I'm not one of those, you got to work. You can't get no sleep. You got to grind. Get your rest. You're going to need it.
Right.
But every day, if it's an email, if it's a phone call, if it's just walking into a business and saying, hey, this is me, this is what I do. You push that agenda because at some point, someone's going to buy into it. And if you get the right person, you're there. If you get multiple people, you continuously stay there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so for those that are just tuning in, you are tuned in to Good Morning to the Leader in You. We are with Mr. Marcus. He is the founder of Hope Dealing Mindset. Along with his team, they have been making an impact in the community for several years now. And we encourage everybody that's tuning in. The link's going to be with this video, and you'll be able to go to their page and to support what they're doing, whether it be volunteer or making a financial contribution. And the reason why I always stay connected to Hope Dealing Mindset is because they are infused in the heart of the community. They're not just behind, the office building. They're in the community, and they're making actual connection with the youth and changing lives. And as I was hearing you share about some of the challenges, because you just had your son, you was just building your business, and you was identifying your balance. And somebody watching right now, you may be feeling like that. Maybe it's not a child. Maybe it's two other things that you're juggling, and you're trying to figure out, can I build my business at the same time I'm dealing with this? And so we just encourage you to continue to push forward. I think you said, even if it's an email, even if it's a phone call,
you got to keep going.
Doing something. And what I get from what you just said is that the small actions build up to the big thing, right? Mm-hmm. So even if you feel that you don't have a lot of time on your side, do something.
Yeah.
Because the something builds up to the larger impact for growing your business. Yeah, go ahead.
I look at it as, if you look at the days and times now, everything moves fast, everything is trendy. I told myself, okay, I have to be the trend. And what I mean by that, I have to be my own trend. I have to have you buy into me so much to where no matter what I'm doing, you're on board. So
be your own trend.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have shirts, my neighborhood hero, neighborhood hope dealer shirts. I'm going to wear them. If it's something with hope on it, I'm going to wear it only because it's a conversation starter. Hey, what is that? Now, when you inquire about that, you're talking to the owner of that business. I'm the best person that can tell you about this. I can sell this to you. And it could be one of my dry seasons. But now I just got somebody else interested that can possibly make that next season even more fruitful. But if I fail to sell myself, if I fail to just every day look at some way to, I'll give you an example. I stopped by Wendy's last night. And when I go in, it's just how things work. I get through the drive-thru, I order my order. I wanted something else. They said I couldn't reorder because they're on a timer, so you got to go back in. So I said, okay, I'll just pull up and come in. So when I come in, I see a sign. So I said, we're hiring. Since I'm paying for my food, I'm like, I'm asking the lady, I'm saying, are you a manager? She happened to be a manager. I keep business cards on me.
Right. So you got to stay ready.
You got to stay ready. So I keep it. So I'm like, hey, what ages do you hire? Start hiring them. She said 16. I lit up because I work with that population. And then if I don't work with that population, I know people that work with that population of kids and or adults that's serious about at least just starting somewhere with income. I give them my card. She took it. She went and talked to someone else and was showing them the card. And as I'm watching this, all I'm saying in my mind is, okay, I presented myself well. So now, if I send someone there or if I come with them, it's a high chance that they may get the job. Only because I presented myself well, but I was ready. The business part of it always, and you never know what can come out of that. So just, I mean, a best case scenario, they become that location become a place. Say, look, we can put something in a contract or whatever. We can hire 2 to 3 kids per quarter if you have them, they're ready and they're working. And we're showing promise in the ones that's working there. So now we got people that can at least get a job. I mean, you could buy your, their Jordans and your game cards, and in the population in which I serve. Now the biggest thing is you're adding another base of income into a household that doesn't have a lot of income coming in.
Right.
And these older kids, they wearing their pockets out of moms that don't really have it, but they still want to take care of their babies.
Right.
You can pay for your own $200 shoes because you're working. So that kind of just goes with all of that, with the business part of it. You'll find
and that goes back to what you were saying about purpose opens doors. So you was just going to go and get something to eat.
That's it.
But you noticed the sign. And I think it's a message in what you just said, because you got to always be looking for a sign. Always be looking for those connections, no matter where you go. I'm pretty sure you was just going to get something to eat, but you saw the sign. And I think it's something to be said as a leader. We always got to be looking. We always got to be in the state of, I know something is about to happen. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I know a positive connection is going to happen. But it was something you said before you went into the Wendy story, and you said, be your own trend. As leaders, sometimes, unfortunately, because of society, social media, sometimes we're trying to mimic another individual or how they do or how they flow. But as a leader, You have to build and make your own trend. And this is what you're doing with the hope dealing mindset. But you know why it goes a step further? Because this is what they're teaching the young men. And so it's a message that I'm trying to get out of what everything that Marcus is saying is that as a leader, it shouldn't just stop with us. Who is the next person that you're pouring into? So as a leader, I'm pretty sure you heard it. I heard it like when you're a leader, not only someone should be pouring into you, you should be pouring into another person. It's like this fluid. It should be fluid. You pouring into someone pouring into you. And so if you're watching right now, you're in Orlando or surrounding area, and you may always had that hunger to volunteer or to be a part of something. The Hope Dealing Mindset is that organization. They have a heart for young men. They're building. I'll talk about because you have certain days that y'all do the feeding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So talk about that because there may be someone watching that want to participate in some way.
All right. So right now we're in our 7th year. We do it every third Saturday. We do a dinner feeding at the Orlando Union Rescue Mission, great community partner of ours. Mm-hmm. And they have 2 missions, which is a men's mission, and they have a family center, mm-hmm. Which they call the family home, which is pretty much women and kids. You may have a couple men there that are fathers that live there, but mm-hmm. not many. Each place we're serving over 100 people per month. Mm-hmm. Like I said, and it's like a 3:30. We get it and set it up.
And it's not just any kind of food, y'all.
Oh no. So now with the mission, all of the food that's there is donated. I've went in there and there's time where and they're very grateful. And the mission is not like it's a run of the mill mission. Mm-hmm. They're getting all of this money, but then they're giving the residents or the mm-hmm. people that's coming through there garbage, but they only get what they have. So it's like pizza boxes. You might have mm-hmm. pizza that was cooked throughout the day at a Pizza Hut or somewhere. They get that might be their dinner. So when we come in, I'm like, nah, I want to cook them. They got to eat what we.
And I'm talking about from scratch.
Oh yeah. We cook. God was so good. The first few years, I would cook all of the food. Mm-hmm. We would get donations. I go buy the food, and I would get there at 11, 12 and start cooking to make it ready for like 4:30 dinner. Now I've been blessed to be able to get groups that'll come out with food, mm-hmm. restaurants that'll sponsor the whole meal. We just had our last feeding, which was last weekend mm-hmm. for this month. We had it's like a seafood gumbo.
Okay.
So we had one that had fish, shrimp, sausage, all that stuff that go in, and then one that had chicken base in it for people that want seafood. And they fed over 100 and some men. People donated. I went and bought the food, and I had 2 guys from Louisiana. Mm-hmm. One of them was actually my mom's boyfriend, and they really cook. Yeah, cook their authentic stuff, and they cooked it for them. Man,
it's the reason why I talked about why it's from scratch, because sometimes you can go to places, and they just give somebody whatever.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. And that speaks to the heart of the organization. You're not just giving someone scraps. As a leader, when we have to look outside of ourselves, and when we say we're going to pour into someone, we have to pour into someone, not with the leftovers.
And that's why we even started. Because mm-hmm. when we first started the mission, we just came to volunteer. We was like, hey, we'll come and just serve dinner, whatever mm-hmm. I guess they eat. And when I was in, I'm like, this is like not. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This ain't right. I know. So I reached out to the volunteer coordinator, like, is there a way that we could mm-hmm. bring the food and serve it? Mm-hmm. And it was like, yeah, like that's fine. Mm-hmm. From that point on, it was like, yeah. And I mean, out of 7 years, it may have been 1 or 2 times where just schedules got busy or something. Mm-hmm. So we had people to serve, like, hey, we'll be able to serve tonight, but I ain't gonna have time to prepare a meal. But that's out of 7 years because I'm that's out of everything I do. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of right there with the mentoring thing. Mm-hmm. But giving someone a meal, because I've been hungry. Mm-hmm. And a good meal, something that, you're not, they can look at this food and say, you see my situation, yet you chose to feed me like this. Mm-hmm. You took mm-hmm. time to think about what you're going to feed. Mm-hmm. And that means a lot to me. So that's one thing I feel like as long as I'm breathing, I'm going to continue to always go out and do those feedings.
Yeah. Because, see, as a leader, you want to be able to pull someone else up. And sometimes it's not always in what you say. It's your demeanor. It's how you mm-hmm. treat a person. Just having a regular conversation. When you serving a person a meal that's at a shelter, how are you serving them? Are you looking down on them? Or are you building a connection? You know what I mean? And that's what y'all do. You build connection. Although, yes, it's the food. but it's what's being given and how it's being given.
I got friends in there. Some of them elders, like it's men, so I get advice from them. I talk to them. There's never time I walked in that building and, hey, Marcus, how you doing? And because to me, who am I?
Yeah.
I'm not. I always tell people I'm not that important, and what I mean by that, I'll never view myself as that important to man. Because if I view myself as important to man, I'm gonna crash somewhere, and then I won't be humble when I come in certain people's presence because I feel like I'm important to man. So I'm not that important in his eyes. I'm important to God, but I'm not important to man. I don't look at it like that. So when I see these men, I treat them as someone else that's important to God. Because most men or women won't deem them important because of the situation. Oh, you in the shelter, or you smell like this, or you wearing this. You're not important to me. I'm gonna treat you. But if I look at you as someone as a child of God, I'm gonna treat you just how I feel like I want to be treated. I don't care what your situation is. So that's just how I operate. And I feel like I get a better rapport with people in general when I view them like that. Even, and as a business owner and dealing with kids and then dealing with the community, so many people at large, you got to kind of have that approach because if not, your business will fail. Like you said, how are you treating people? You can have the best product in the world, but I won't continuously come if the service is horrible. I don't care how good the food is. I go find something that's not as good, but the service is impeccable because the service alone. So it's just about how you treating people. So yeah.
And so what I get from what you're saying also, as far as us as a leader and as an entrepreneur, we have to fix our lens, our vision, not only our personal vision for ourselves, but when we're looking at another person, when we're talking to another person, when we're engaging with another person, bottom line, customer service, right? And I think sometimes in society, it's become such a fast food society that we lose that customer service. We lose that edge of humility, humanity, and real connection. And so for those that's watching now or watching later, or like I said, send the link to someone that you know that's a leader that's growing, that maybe had some bumps in the road. Maybe, you feel like you're trying to balance and you don't know how to get your balance. We're talking to a leader in the community that's pouring into the younger generation, but also pouring into individuals by way of a plate of food, right? But that plate of food is symbolic. It's symbolic because of how it's served. It's symbolic because of the presentation and what's on the plate, right? And so I think we as leaders, we have to be so conscious on how we interact, how we engage, right? This show is called Good Morning to the Leader in You for a Purpose, because we want to awaken that leader that's dormant on the inside of you. We want to awaken the leader on the inside of you that says, you know what, I can't measure up to the next person. I don't have their resources. I don't have their connections. So how can I even step out and be a leader? What would you say to someone that say, I feel like I'm a leader, I'm on borderline, but I don't have what the next person has? What would you say?
Great question, and I'm just gonna give the analogy of what you just presented because it just popped in my head with the plate of food, the presentation. Your business is this plate of food. How you presenting it. And when I say how you presented it, the presentation of your business, and then the physical person that's serving it, and then what's going to make them eat it.
Okay.
So if you gave me this plate, it looks well, it smells well, I'm more inclined to eat it. If you just throw this plate out, it looks like that. I mean, same with the business. How's your presentation going to be? Why should I buy in? And then how are you treating you? If you took time to cook this food and prepare this food a certain way, that means you cared about the person that's going to eat it. So if you treated your business right, you caring about the person that's going to buy into it. So,
you got to care about the person that's buying into it. And that's can transcend on any level, whether you're running a nonprofit, whether you're running a for-profit business, whether you're just managing your own home, right? Because there's a lot that happens in our community just under our own roof, right? And we're trying to balance that, right? And I want to talk about that because we as leaders, we're building a business. We still have to have our family balance. And so, what would you say to the leader that's saying, I'm building my business, but I don't want to leave my family behind, and I don't want anyone to feel like I'm leaving them behind, but I still got to go full throttle with my business? How do you balance the family and the business?
You find a corporation, and that's what I've done. And I don't can give what I feel worked for me. I found ways to where my family could benefit as well from my business. And what I mean by that is if it's mentoring, my sister or my mom's neighbor may have a child, or my sister may know a friend that have a child, and their son can benefit, or their nephew, whatever. Now we can put that service in, and that's just a connection because they're gonna want to find ways to support too. And what you have to be conscious of in business and dealing with family and having that balance. If it's a wife, if it's a sister, if it any type of family, you can't be so fixated on how you want them to buy in. You have to really let them buy in and support in ways that they want to support, because you can ultimately push them away. Or you can overlook their support because you're looking for a certain way of support. So if I'm doing an Easter event, I have nieces. Y'all come on out. Come enjoy this because this is for the community anyway. My mom, if it's anything, I bring my mom will come to the events. Any shirts that I have, she have every single one because she wants to support her son. I mean, you just have to find ways
Integrate.
You have to put them together, and then also be understanding when it's not there as if you would how you want it, because you don't know who at night is actually praying for you and your family. That's actually, they may have not come to one event. They may have not, you may have not visibly seen them support you, but you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. So you kind of, just gotta say, you know what, let me just,
And I bring that up because sometimes, and I think we always say on social media, sometimes people put posts up, well, I'm not getting support from my family or people, but support comes in many different ways.
Who cares? Now you're putting too much energy on nothing, and you're actually damaging yourself, because when you can publicly go out there, if I go out, just say if I want to come, you're in business, and one thing I've learned in business, one of the greatest tools in business is word of mouth. If I look on, just say, social media, and I see someone that I potentially want to do business with, but I see a post that says, in reference to, they feel in a certain way because certain people don't support them. That's going to trigger. That's a red flag to me, because now I'm going to look at it and say, okay,
what's going on with that?
If I were to choose to support them and then I stop, how are they going to feel? Will they value my initial support? Or if I don't want to support them at all right now,
for whatever reason.
But if you can publicly, that's letting me know you're not really focusing on, because I bet you got people that are supporting you. So why the post couldn't say, I'm thankful for everyone that has been supporting me thus far. And it doesn't have to be, and for everybody else, thankful for everyone that supported me thus far. You don't put energy into things that doesn't need. Don't worry about it. I used to think that way, like, hey man, people don't know all the time. You ain't came in there, you ain't supported, you ain't donated, or you ain't. And I just met this person, then I did all that, and I'm like, you know what? That ain't on me. You know what I'm saying? Because if you support me or not, at the end of the day, it only can make me feel a certain way, but it ain't gonna really take me. You know what I'm saying? But if I can focus on all these people, I can birth these new relationships. I love the new friends. I love the new partnerships. So that's what I'm gonna focus on. I would rather focus on that.
And so the point of me even bringing that point of discussion, it goes back to what something you said earlier on at the top of this segment, is redirecting your focus. So no matter where you are in business, we have to redirect our focus and stay focused on the focus. So when I say stay focused on the focus, stay focused on the mission, the vision, your short-term and your long-term goals. We cannot get consumed with irrelevant things that we have no control over. Good morning to the leader in you. When you wake up in the morning, you got to go to that mirror and you have to say good morning to the leader that's on the inside of you. And every day we're growing. Every day we're learning. I don't have it all wrapped tight. I'm not at 100. That's why every single day I have to get up and I have to learn something new. And we have to be in a phase. I was talking to another sister that was on the segment, and I was saying we have to always want to be able to be sharpened. You know that saying that says iron sharpens iron? So we have to always put ourselves in an atmosphere where we're being sharpened. And sometimes when something is being sharpened, that means something rigorous is going on.
Exactly.
And so we're shedding something, but we're also birthing into something. And as we get ready to wind down this segment, I just want you to talk about the leader. When did that leader awaken in you, right? Because it could be somebody watching like, I know I'm supposed to be called to do X, Y, Z. But I don't feel it's my season, or I'm not ready. When did you have your awakening experience about who you are as a leader?
I think when I think I don't have a specific like day or time, but it was like a season in my life when everything that wasn't a leader in me was being denied. It was pretty much
meaning
um I got pushed off a cliff.
okay, like literally.
Oh, not like
okay.
not physically pushed off a cliff, but it was like okay,
mentally.
look, man, mentally I got pushed off a cliff into my own bliss.
Okay.
And it was like, look, you gotta trust, you gotta trust, you gotta trust, because I kept getting little hints, and I say purpose will make a way. I'm like, dang, I just did this, and it was towards this. It happened so easy. I was able to get this, so I'm like, okay, wow. So this is what I really need to be doing. I really need to take this serious because I see it's really gonna make a way for me. I think we went maybe a year or two operating as a nonprofit without a tax exempt ID. But when I kept seeing it, dang, it's still making a way. It's still making a way. People still buying in. Man, you need to stay on this. And now I'm glad that I stayed on it.
Yeah.
I wake up every day. I'm thankful of the entrepreneur life. Therefore, you set your own schedule. You get those luxuries, but you do have to grind because being an entrepreneur, nothing is truly guaranteed. You have to work daily to keep things sustained until you get to a certain level or whatever your goals is. But I wake up every day with that assurance of saying, you know what, I got something to do, and if I can share something special, I mean, what I find to be special, especially in other leaders, you the better you treat another, that's the best way you could ever treat yourself. And that goes back to the Bible. Like I've noticed that when you serve, how they say like the servant leader.
Yeah.
When you serve from a genuine place, I guarantee you every single thing in the world will open up to you. But you already have to, like how I went to the Wendy's getting something to eat, but that serving in me saying, how can I help another? I mean, the more people that you help, you know how people say, well, I helped so many people in my life, and we're not saying you get rich and you just go pay for this and pay for this for everybody. Yeah, you might go broke. But if you always walking out your door, you wake up in the morning, you're finding ways to help another person in any shape, form, or fashion, God responds to that. Because he's saying, you know what, you're not putting you first. And if you're operating that way, you're essentially putting me first, because this is what I would want you to do. So you know what, I'm going to make room for everything for you because you're busy doing my work. So just look to serve another. Like always look to serve another, but be mindful, of course. Faith doesn't mean go walk in the street and the car not going to hit you because God loves you. You may get hit and you may die. But be mindful of just, why you're here. How is it, like, how did this happen for me? Like, I know I didn't physically do that. If this happened for me, then I mean, I got to consistently serve someone else. If I build you up and I build 10 more of you up and we got this great relationship and it's genuine, if I ever fall, I got 10 more people. And these 10 people can be in different fields, but I got somewhere where I can go. And the thing about it, I could come to you. And if I fail, you may give me a conversation that I gave to you one day. That same conversation turn around and now I'm back up. Yeah. So, but I had to first come serve you that. You know what I'm saying? Without any, what do I get in return? Right. I'm just here to serve you, blah, blah, blah. It's just like with the interview. You've always, since we met, you took that. I'm always honoring people that try to put me on any platform because, like I said, I'm not that important. So if you feel, you want to help me help my company, whatever, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna show up. But that's just service. But I look at it's always been reciprocated. There's never been no, I'll do this because you're doing that. Right. Nah, business don't work like that in certain ways. But when in being a leader, and what we're talking about being a leader, you have to lead when they're not going to follow. You have to lead even when they don't want to lead you. You still have to be a leader and learn properly and just operate from that.
Yeah. And I think, it's a lot of points that you just made. And for those that are tuning in, or you feel compelled to share this link and share this video, the reason why I constantly stay connected and in different platforms that I'm building with your organization is because I know that your organization truly cares for people. You're truly pouring into the lives of the youth. And I've seen firsthand in terms of how you serve the people, not only you, but you and the team, right? And so sometimes that can be few and far between. I mean, because, as a community organizer, I've been in the community, you know, not only here, but back in Baltimore. I mean, many people can start an organization. But you know genuine ones and you know the fake ones, you know, and so that's important. And that's in business. People know if you're starting a business and if you're trying to push your product or your services, they're going to either feel you or they're not. So I think this whole segment, you know, it's several things that I'm taking away from it, right? And I hope you're taking away certain points. The purpose and pathway, that's something that's going to stay with me. And I want you to think about, for those that's watching, what from this segment are you going to take away? I like to call it golden nuggets. Golden nuggets, you've heard the whole segment, but what's that thing that's going to stay with you? What's that one or two things that you can actually implement? Because you can hear conversations of business owners. You can watch any kind of YouTube clip, motivational. We can be consumed with motivation, right? But once we receive it, how are we going to implement, right? And so as we get ready to wind down this segment, I want you to think about, of everything that you heard, how are you going to go into implementation phase and execute on your vision, execute on your mission, and execute on your goals? Before we wind down, plug your contact information again.
The Hope Dealer Mindset Corp on Facebook, Hope Dealer Mindset Instagram, I Hope Mentor Instagram and Facebook, The Hope Dealer on Instagram. You'll be able to get to all of my pages that way. The website, www.hopedealermindset.org. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so again, with the video, you can click on the links and you can go to his page, learn about, you know, the upcoming things. There's always going to be something coming up, right? They're always moving. They're always building. Where do you see your organization growing to next year?
Next year, hopefully a space. We have a space, but I want my own.
Okay.
I'm working diligently towards that. Just more expansion. I'm thinking like, you know, more areas. I see expansion in a lot. Yeah, I've been just seeing that in a lot of areas right now with my company. So, yeah.
And for those that's watching, I want you to ask yourself that same question. Where do you see yourself and your business growing to in 2022? Because, see, we got to start thinking about it so we can put that plan on paper and so we can execute that plan. Continue to plug into the Morning to the Leader in You. Listen, I want you to plug back in next week. We're going to have another leader on the show that's going to be dropping gems, dropping information that we all can take in, but not just take it in, that we can implement and then do what? See someone else in the community and pour back into them and allow the ripple effect to continue. So thank you. Peace and blessings for those that tuned in to Good Morning to the Leader in You. Plug into the Hope Dealer Mindset and be a part of the movement.